Hi there, good afternoon, everybody. Want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here again, beginning of another week. Last week was a good week. I think the topics were pretty interesting. I enjoyed last week quite a bit. I'm hoping to enjoy this week a bit more. So the show we're doing right now is called This Week. For those of you new to my channel, I put out this episode every week between probably noon and 1 to 1:30, somewhere in there, depending on time factors of stuff that I have to get ready for it and other stuff that I have to do in the morning on Sundays. So this was going to be a little bit late. I think it's already after 12. Yep. So basically what I do on this show is I tell you about what the content of the show is going to, or this channel is going to be for the week, doing all the regular shows content, plus talking about any particular series we might be running for the month of April in this case. And if I'm doing, sometimes I talk about stuff that's going to happen in the future. Sometimes I go back and correct stuff. So usually I do the correction stuff first. Basically, we don't really have much to correct this week. A couple of shows came out a little bit late. Again, it's the usual time factor, work, and getting home and getting set up and doing all the stuff you need to, and trying to get food in there as well, which is sometimes something that doesn't happen, and then I'm miserable. So what they call it, hangry. I'm hangry. There you go. So we're here today now to talk about this week's content. I'm just going to get that set up here now. We have a new show starting this week. I'll be talking about that when we get to it. Also, the series, we'll go over that just a little bit too. Okay, so having done the first part, now we're going to go on to, so the first show that comes out, other than this one, which will come out as soon as I upload it after this recording, the next show is called Commonalities Compared. And I'm not sure, but this could be the last or the second last episode. I didn't check the number because I never write the number on Commonalities Compared. But so I'm not 100% sure, but I think this could be the last album. And then me and Ben will have a discussion about if he has anything he wants to replace there. If he doesn't, I will come up with something to replace it with something else, right? But that's a show in which we talk about a couple of commonalities. So today, it can be anything. It can be two rock albums or two bands or two guitarists. In the case of today, it is two guitarists. We're going to talk about Ritchie Blackmore of Deep Purple and Rainbow, and Ritchie Blackmore's own stuff. And then Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath. And we will talk about the commonalities that they share, and then about some of the differences as well. So that show will come out at 8 o'clock tonight, 8 p.m. actually, on Sunday. So the next show up is a look back at a classic rock album. I've been waiting for a bit to do this album. It's been in my playlist for, 5 months. Usually 5 months is when I decide whether the album is good enough for me to do in the look back, or if it isn't, it won't make it to 5 months anyway, so I don't need to worry about it. This album easily makes that. It's been probably my favorite album for the past month and a half or so anyways, and that's Blue Oyster Cult's Spectres. Yes, that's what we're going to be doing for this week on Look Back at a Classic Rock Album. We'll be featuring this one, Blue Oyster Cult's, or BOC's Spectres. And that will come out Monday at 8 o'clock as normal time. Next up is a new series that we're going to be running. So as you know, the last series, which was the, I'm drawing a blank here. I know the series, I'm trying to think of the name. The different, the changes in direction, serious changes in direction. The mini-series we ran for the past 6 weeks came to an end last week. Usually I take a week off and then start the series, but I think I'm prepared to go for this one. So this is a new series called Decades 2. So we did do a decades one, which was basically I went through each decade from 1960 up to the modern decades of 2020. I think it was actually, we went to the 2010s to the 2020, and I did we did a topic based on those 6 decades. This one is also called Decades 2, but it's going to be a totally different parameter here. So what we're doing is we're taking 10 bands and talking about an album that may have occurred at one period of time, and then 10 years later, what this band sounds like. It should be interesting because we can chart the history of this band from that particular album right through to show you how they got to the point that they got to. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards doing. And I think that's kind of what Ben wants me to do as well. This is a brain thrust of his. I thought it was an excellent idea. So I okayed this and we're ready to go. He's given me the first band for the series, which will be Styx. And we'll be going from Styx 1, 2, the first 2 albums, right up to the Kilroy Was Here album. So a wide range of stuff happening in between those 2 periods. Probably will be a fairly lengthy episode. Hopefully not too lengthy. I'm going to try to keep these between 10 and 20 minutes at most. If I can get it to 10 to 15 minutes, I'd be very happy with that. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do for Decades 2, which will start this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Next up, Favorites. This is a show have been running almost since the very beginning of this, when I first started developing the concept of doing shows as opposed to just doing one-offs, which was what I was doing initially, just doing one-off album reviews or one-off rankings or one-off this or that. I decided to kind of start categorizing them, and I started with 3 shows, which was a look back at a classic rock album, which I do Monday, this show, Wednesday night's Favorites, and then Friday night Live Experience, which I discontinued because of my lack of live albums primarily, but also because I didn't find it was as interesting as the other 2. So now we're here with Favorites this week, which will come out Wednesday, of course. The topic for this week will be a 25. So usually, for those of you who watch this channel and know this is normally what I do, I'll do a 5, I'll do a 25, I might do a 10, maybe I'll do another 5, maybe I'll do a ranking. Rankings, not so much, because a lot of the discographies I haven't gone through entirely. I like to do a thorough inspection of a discography before I decide to rank it. And sometimes I do other things too, but those are the primary ones that I do. So this week we're doing a 25. This is the 25 bands that I've never followed. And I want to make sure people are clear about this. This is not the 25 bands that I don't like and not going to follow. These are just 25 bands I've never followed and never really had much of an interest in. Now that might change, and that's part of the reason why we do this thing, is to try and maybe open the door for a couple of these bands to get in. And so I'm going to do 25, and that will be Wednesday at 8 o'clock normal time. Next up is Thursday's ranking of the songs. So this has come back in now and is doing a bi-weekly with Not What We Hoped For. I took out the other show, which is lost in my train of thought right now. But so we're ranking the songs off an album. The album I've chosen to do this week, and I forgot to show you, this will be the band that we're going to be doing for the decades. And the album I've chosen for this week is The Cars. We'll be ranking the songs off of the Cars debut album. I look forward to doing this. This is an absolute killer album. I'm actually kind of curious to see which song. I have a couple in mind that I think are going to be number 1, but I'm not quite sure. I'll probably listen to it first before I do it. Next up, Friday's live stream this week, which I do every Friday night, into the Prog verse. I'm going to be doing the topic that I had planned to do a few weeks ago, but decided to go off on a tangent and follow the Big Six Prog thing that I did for 3 weeks. Now we're going to jump over to this topic, which is called space rock bands. I'm going to be talking about those bands out there that I consider space rock. The space rock is a element of music that I like quite a bit. So that's what we're doing for the live experience. Hopefully I can get that out by 8. In fact, I will probably set it up today so that the prequel will be set up for people to be aware that it's coming. Next up is now into Saturday. This week we have 3 channel episodes this Saturday. The first one will be at noon, which will be Battle of the Masterpiece albums. This will be episode number 5. For those of you who are following this, what I've done here is I've taken the 61 masterpiece albums that are masterpieces to me, that are in my collection as masterpieces, and I put them in 15 battles, with the last battle having 5 instead of 4 albums. And I listen to them throughout the week. I rank them according to how I like them, and then the winner will go on to the finals. The final 3. There'll be 3. In this case, there will be 3, I believe. 4. I think it's 4. 4 episodes for the semifinals, and then the winners of each of those 4 episodes will go on to a final. So it looks like there'll be a total of 20 weeks for this series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. I've kind of decided that maybe nostalgia is good, but maybe it isn't so good. So we're going to try and find out if the number 1 album that I really feel is number 1 is actually really number 1. Okay, so that will come out at noon on Saturday. The next episode, which will be an episode of my playlist, I do this every month, mid-month, kind of as an alt from my new albums purchase, which I do at the end of the month. So I did this mid-month. Playlist is just basically about what's currently in my playlist, what's come into my playlist, what's gone out of my playlist. I usually give at the end, my top 5 albums currently on my 5 favorite albums currently on the playlist. And then I also generally talk about what I've been listening to lately, what I've discovered that's new, and if I'm doing a run of albums. Sometimes I like to do runs where I listen to the entire discography of a particular band. I did that this week, so it'll be interesting for next week. So that will come out at around 4 p.m. on Saturday. And then the last episode of the week is What's New. That will come out at 8 o'clock Saturday night. At this point in time, I have not decided on what new album I want to do. I didn't really have much of a chance to explore it yesterday or the day before. So I will get to it today and figure it out, and then we'll have one for that show on the Saturday. So that's it for the regular channel shows. So the series that we're currently running for the month of April, which is my 30 favorite rock bands with a kind of a prog influence to their music. They're not necessarily prog bands. In fact, I don't think of any of these as prog bands. I think of them as hard rock or pop rock or metal, all kinds of different realms of music, but I don't think of them as prog rock bands. Although most of them, in fact, all of them have some prog in their music, varying degrees, and I've put them in the order of least prog influence to most prog influence. If that it's kind of loosey-goosey. Some of them, it's just a percentage thing. It's a guesstimation. So you might have half a dozen at the bottom are all very close to having about the same amount of prog influence. Others at the top have more. So anyways, we have 7 more bands to do this week, and I'm looking forward to having people enjoy those episodes as well. So in the upcoming thing, I have started to look at both of the series that I had listed to do for upcoming months. The one that I've put off a couple times now, one because I did something in February, and then again when I started this episode this month, I decided to put it back. But I think I'm going to jump there and do it next month, which is my I guess it would be, well, it's May, right? So it would be 31 favorite um, new wave bands that came out during that new wave period of music in our history, which I think kind of started in the late 70s and filtered out by the early 80s. So maybe about 3 or 4 years worth of stuff there. And I'm going to give you my 31 favorite of those bands for that month. So that's the series we'll be running in May, unless I change my mind again, which is at least possible. So that's it for what's going on this week. I hope you will be satisfied with something on the channel for this week, and I hope to see you all throughout the week. So please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Those things help the channel. And if you want to make any comments in the comment section about anything I've said, or if you want to maybe make a suggestion of your own that you would like maybe to see, and I can work it in somewhere in the near future or not too far future, I will try to do that as well. So anyways, I hope to hear you all, see you all, and hear from you all throughout the week. Take care and have yourself a good day, good afternoon, and good evening, and goodbye.